What's going on, GameLeap? It's Coach Eeks back at it. Hope you're all having a great day. Now, it should get even better after watching this video because we are going to be going over the changes Riot have planned for the 10.25b patch, which will be hitting live servers tomorrow. If you want to find out if your favorite champion or role got buffed, nerfed, or stayed the same, then make sure to stick around for the next 10 minutes or so. For our question of the video, we want to know which of these changes we're about to reveal you are most happy with. So pin those ears back and get ready. Now, before we start sending it, reminder to check out our amazing website GameLeap.com. Thousands of your fellow summoners have already signed up, so get around it. Challenger courses and guides designed to help you become the best, so don't waste any time and head on over there. Links in the description and comments section. Alright, let's get into it. So we're going to start with the nerfs Riot have planned, and this first one does put a smile on my face. The only item nerf of 10.25b is to Sunfire Aegis, and this Balmy Cinder Mythic is once again on the chopping block. So its Immolate passive, you know, the one that lets tanks deal an absurd amount of damage, is losing some of its power. Hooray. So when you damage an enemy champion or monster, you add a stack that increases your Immolate damage, and this is what has been nerfed. So instead of increasing that damage by 12%, it's now 10% per stack, maxing at 60% and not 72%. Now, Sunfire Aegis has been nerfed multiple times by Riot this preseason, and this change will completely level out all of those champions taking advantage of this OP effect. Tanks are the obvious ones, but some bruisers have also been abusing the damage in Sunfire Aegis, like Kled and Warwick. Now, for any of you that will continue to build Sunfire, your sustained damage is lower, so your fights are weaker, as are your wave clear and jungle clear. What this also means for these champions is that other mythic items will become more viable, and it shouldn't be a case of I'm going to build this every game. It will be more of a what mythic is best for this game in particular. Next nerf on the list is Tuakali, and this will probably be music to a lot of your ears, because I think we can all admit, even if you play Akali, she is quite annoying to play against. So Riot are nerfing her damage and movement speed in her passive. Now, the damage is being lowered to 29 to 170, with the AP scaling reduced to 40%, while the movement speed is being lowered to 30 to 60%. Now, Akali's passive is what makes her early game surprisingly strong. Yes, you can still have a hard time in certain matchups, but it's fairly easy to land your Q to activate your passive, and this gives you pressure in the lane. These nerfs, though, won't significantly impact that power. It will still be easy to proc, especially against popular melee mid laners like Zed and Yasuo, and your attack range is still double when your passive is active. So despite your bonus movement speed being down 10% at level 1, and your damage being down lower in the early laning phase, you still have enough mobility and range to use your passive to great effect. Also keep in mind that you have your Shroud that grants bonus movement speed too, and one of the best gap closing ultimates in the game. So yeah, proccing your passive won't be an issue, but the damage decrease might present you with less kill opportunities. Up next on the hit list we have Malphite, and this one sounds like a big deal. So your magic resist is down from 32.1 to 28. Now, it might not sound substantial, but Malphite struggles into AP champions as it is, and this now makes him unplayable into champions like Vladimir, Teemo, Mordekaiser. Like, you are going to be so sad for the whole game now. As we all know as Malphite, you thrive off nullifying and stomping attack damage champions. This is because of your innate armor and armor scaling that make you one of the best tanks in the game, but you have nothing to threaten mages with. Essentially, they can scale for free. So if you think of Kayn, for example, and become a much bigger force as the game progresses. This nerf now means they can bully the heck out of you early game if they weren't already, and your lane is lost in champ select. If you think back to that Sunfire Aegis nerf we talked about, it puts you Malphite players in an even bigger hole. Malph may have a high win rate at the moment, but once you guys and everyone else start realizing you can just pick Teemo and end the game at 15, this will drop by heaps. Moving on, the second mid laner being targeted for 10.25b is Galio. Riot have deemed it fit to increase your W cooldown to 18 to 16 seconds from 16 to 12 seconds based on level. Now, unless you're a one-trick Galio support player, this nerf doesn't really sound like much. In skirmishes and fights, you are most likely using your taunt once unless the fight goes for a very long time, so having access to fewer taunts means nothing, to be honest. Let me put it this way, no Galio player thinks to themselves, wow, if only I had my taunt up again for that fight. Let me throw some stats at you. So in Master and above in career, Galio is one of the best performing champions with a 57.7% win rate, which is absurd. In fact, just for mid lane, this is above 60%. Now, the reason for this is not your taunt cooldown. You perform great into popular assassin mid laners like Akali, Fizz, Zed, Yasuo and the like, and you have incredible utility for your team. If you're a jungler, for example, you are happy as a pig in, you know what, when your mid laner is a Galio, because he can set up kills for you. If you're an AD carry, you might be even happier because he can ulti onto you and give you a shield. Now this might not happen in bronze, but still, nothing to really worry about here. Onto the 4th champion receiving a nerf, and the 3rd mid laner on this list is Anivia. So your E base damage is down 10 at all levels, and your E mana cost is now a flat 50 instead of a flat 40. What do you guys think? Do you think it's enough to upset Froggen? I don't think so, but now the reason Anivia's E is so good after Riot buffed her like crazy at the start of 1025 is because it's very easy to proc the double damage in your Frostbite. Nowadays, all you have to do is clip an enemy champion with your Q, not stun them, and your E does double the damage. So with 1 point in your E, this will still do 100 of the good stuff, which is a lot. Keep in mind this is on a 4-second cooldown at all levels, and this is another reason why the nerf won't have much of an impact. Later in a game when you have, let's say, 50 ability haste, your Frostbite is on close to a 2.5-second cooldown. It's pretty OP, right? Do you guys agree? Now also a thought, later in a game when you have Seris Embrace and hopefully blue buff, what does 50 mana mean? Nothing, let's be real. So it might make you think about using your abilities a little more conservatively in the first few levels, but all in all, Anivia will still be a powerhouse come season 11. The last champion Riot have gone after for a big fat nerf is Olaf. So your Q slow is down in earlier levels to 25 to 45% from 29 to 45%, and your bonus attack speed in your W is decreasing by 5% at all ranks. Now whenever I've seen Olaf this preseason, he has been very hard to play against because of his DPS and insane healing from his W and once he gets Gore Drinker. So a slow nerf in his Q seems to target his ganking potential, but Olaf is more of a power farmer or into jungler, so not much if anything is lost here unless you're a real one and you play Olaf top. The attack speed reduction as well in your Vicious Strikes isn't significant enough to stop you from axing your opponents to death while healing back to full HP at the same time. Now in high elo career, Jungle Olaf has close to a 62% win rate and is banned in 25% of games, which is pretty high. This tells us that he is very strong, but these nerfs won't bring him down from the top of the ladder. Alright guys, let's change the mood and go over the buffs Riot is throwing out in 1025B, and there are so many. In fact, there are 2 of them. How good is that? Let's focus on the buff Rito are giving to Kayn. Yes, after nerfing him into the ground at the start of 1025, Riot are bringing you Shadow Assassins and Rast Lovers back into play. Your base armor is being reverted back to 38 from 35, and your Q damage is also being reverted back to 75 to 155 at all ranks. So in the big picture, the only nerf from the original 1025 that is staying is the Q cooldown increase by a second at each level. So the question you're all asking, will this make Kayn OP again? No, not OP, but it certainly makes him more playable. Just to fill you in, this patch Kayn has copped it harder than any other champion. His win rate across the board has dropped 6% to 48% overall, which is up there with the biggest win rate changes in the preseason. I mean, listen to this. In Master and above in career, guess what his win rate is? It's just over 30%. So not even 1 in 3 games you win at the moment on Kayn, so these buffs feel necessary, even though lots of summoners think the Shadow Reaper is still busted. Now in low elo, Kayn will perform extremely well because of these reverts, but in higher levels of play, the Q cooldown nerf from 1025 is still the big issue for Kayn. Olaf will still be strong, as will Hecarim, so you can pick these bruisers instead, or you can just pick Kha'Zix if you want to play an AD assassin jungler. Now the last buff of this patch is going over to Gangplank, and guys, this is huge. Listen to this. Your attack damage, wait for it, is up by 1 at each level. 1. This means at level 18 you have an extra 18 AD. You won't even have to land a triple barrel combat to one-shot an enemy squishy, just Q them, they will die. Now guys, it pains me to say it, but I was actually joking about the impact of this change. It is pin. So Gangplank has the lowest win rate in the game at the moment, and let me ask you guys, what is 1 extra AD per level going to do? I will say this, that your base attack damage as Gangplank matters because it gets put into Sheen's damage and your Q and E, but it just seems so minuscule, especially when you have a 44% win rate. Think about the other top laners in the game who are performing well. You've got Darius, you've got Camille, you've got Shen. They all work great with the new mythic items, but as Gangplank, you don't spike nearly as hard, and even if you are 5-0, it means nothing if you cannot scale. Sad times indeed. Let me know down below what change you actually think Gangplank needs to put him back on the map. Now we're on to the last 2 pieces of the 1025B puzzle, and these are adjustments. Now one of them is to the item Runar's Hurricane. So instead of costing a steep 3400 gold, it will now cost 2500 gold, but the price you pay is that you lose the 25 attack damage it gave you and the damage this AD provided for your bolts. So the new Runar's is the same price as Phantom Dancer, Rapid Fire Cannon and Mortal Reminder, and for most AD carries these items are built after your mythic. Apart from Mortal Reminder, you only really build this into stacked healing teams. But anyway, Runar's will give the exact same stats as Phantom Dancer and similar stats to Rapid Fire, so what it really boils down to is what passive you really want. And this depends on the champion you are playing and the team composition you are against. For example, if you're playing Kai'Sa, Runaan's would be a great second choice against teams with multiple champions that can dive onto you, or if you're playing Aphelios, Runaan's is, well, a core item, and the cheaper cost means you can reach that Infinity Edge power spike quicker, so this is a real positive. All in all, this adjustment adds another cheap Zeal item into the shop and increases build diversity, which can only be a good thing. Now, before we reveal the last adjustment for 1025B, guys, massive thanks for watching until this point, and another friendly reminder to scroll down and open up our website once this video is over. Join thousands of others and sign up for exclusive access to our Challenger level courses and guides to make the most out of League. So here we have it, the last adjustment for the upcoming mini patch is to Rel, and this will be a quickie. Now when you cast your E again to stun enemies around you and your bound ally, your tether to that ally remains, meaning it won't break, and they will still hold on to the extra armor and magic resist you give them. Now will this bring Rel's 45% win rate up a bit? I highly doubt it, but it's a step in the right direction at least. Guys, thanks so much for watching the video. Remember to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. This has been Coach Iggs, and until next time, peace.